Success.
Success.
Mark.
Success. Why, hello
Hallelujah.
there. Alive we are.
Hello.
How is the world? No, that's not a question I want
No.
answered.
No.
That's sorry. I take that back. That was horrific of me. Maybe we just restart the stream.
Just going to, yeah.
I'll cut this out of the. I'll just cut it out of the. We're just. I'm not going to take us offline and then bring us back. That's too much for me.
That would be too many.
That would be too many. Wine at 10 a.m. tells you how the world is. Jamie, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm maybe slightly underslept because I became obsessed with Art Breeder last night. And
oh no.
Which one?
It's a tool where you sort of crossbreed art to create things, and it's very good at making D&D portraits if you are not good at art otherwise.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because you can just sort of like keep fiddling with adjustments and then creating randomly generated results through seeds and yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll have to get you to send me the link for that. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I think I already put it in Discord.
Okay, cool.
Can we all take a moment to appreciate Kazra art?
Yeah,
Kazra art is awesome.
Who is good at art? Sonia.
Sonia is good at art.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Who knew? We did. That's who knew.
Yeah.
Yep. We've known for a while.
Sonia.
Now I'm a real king.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I am perpetually in want of being able to afford some of her stuff.
I'm thrilled.
But unfortunately, I'm incapable of thinking in terms of small when I start talking about art. So
I understand this inclination. Sam, how are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Looking forward to get back into these characters after a sort of like forgot that we didn't stream last week, and then it was like, oh, that's what that feeling is. Oh, right.
Impending doom.
That was.
Is it impending doom?
Well, it's like well, that's what that emptiness was. Now it's filled with concern.
Yes.
Good. Good.
It means possibly I'm doing the right thing. I mean,
almost certainly. Or I need to take it easy. I don't. One of the two. Pretty sure it's the you thing, though.
And
all right,
Michelle, how are you
going? Not bad. Today was a bit one of those days that kind of felt a Monday in spite of being a Wednesday, and so I kept staring suspiciously at both the calendar and my work, but it all ended well, so that's really the important part. So yeah.
Danny?
And also get to play with you guys today. Yay! Yeah. Sorry, Danny.
I'm here. I'm here.
And we are grateful for it.
I'm here and I'm glad to be here, and I really love the art.
Yeah,
oh, so good.
It's so pretty. There are things that I need to do, but I haven't had time. I'm going to do those at some point. We did all of that, but like, Jamie, where can we find you?
Oh yeah, the thing that we do at the beginning of the show.
Hey.
You can find me, not leaving my house because it's a lockdown, but
word
on the internet you can find me at Muffin Manifesto on Twitter, which should be there. Oh no, my hand is disappearing because the microphone's there. Okay, cool. And you can also
they can see it on the overlay. You can't see it, they can.
Yes. No, I know that. No, my hand was disappearing because of the microphone. And then you can also find me on my website, jamie-collette.com. I'm a voice actor and director, and you can find some shows that I've directed on streamedshakespeare.com. because
Nice.
I got bored during the last couple of years of being locked down, and so I both performed and directed in lots of Shakespeare.
That
As
is
you
exactly
do.
how it should be.
As you do.
As you do.
Sam, where
Hi.
do we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @the_real_SammyP. In a few months, you'll be able to find me on stage if you're in the Southeast Queensland region, which is probably it might just be me in this little bubble at the moment, but that's fine. And that's probably all the places you'll find me in the immediate future. I do voice acting and performing as well.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, catch up with me on Twitter, MichelleV69. I've also have my sort of hub of all things me, which is michellervaillancourt.com. You can catch up there. I'm an author, stream GM, in case you weren't getting the hint by the words over my head. And yeah, I've been playing in the Omens Rising on Tuesday nights with the rest of this crew, and that's kind of cool too. So that's fun. Yeah.
Everybody but me.
I'm missing you.
Won't it? I mean, I guess not there, because tragically I did not make the cut. My audition tape was not quite good enough to the Omens Rising alpha test, but you can find me over at DT Camp Chanson, which is down there, which I presume that you can see, even though I can. I just have to suspend my disbelief and believe. But also you can usually find me over at whisperforge.org doing podcast stuff. And you can find me here on Twitch on Saturdays on this channel doing Daybreak, where I play a werewolf.
And does it well.
Awoo.
Oh,
Awoo. And me, I'm everywhere all the time.
everywhere.
That's that's the answer. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Including right behind you.
For a second, I thought I was behind me, and I got scared. Which technically I am, because
Yeah.
Alexandria.
Look, if you can see Chantel, there's at least 3 others around you.
I would prefer it if you didn't tell people my secrets like that.
You think you know where Chantel is? No, you don't. No, you don't. It's not just there.
I'm everywhere all the time. And with that, I'm gonna be nowhere, because we're gonna do the intro now.
I see.
You said that slightly too early. If you would say that again, please, Jamie.
And we're back.
Thank you.
Lovely.
And front.
Inside.
Alrighty. Well then. Spider, my man, how are you doing?
Spider-Man.
Switch man.
Someone get
Switch man,
someone do me a favor and give the bird another jawbreaker, would you? Thanks. Spider, how you doing?
I'm having a wonderful time. Yeah, Counselor and I discovered a secret meeting amongst the city's criminal elite going on this evening. And, of course, unperturbed, I plan to attend, despite the fact that my soul very correctly warned that this could be a place that everyone is going to get murdered by the criminals in the dark.
Awkward.
And whilst I understand their concern about people co-opting Alexandri to be the figurehead of their fake revolution, I'm wondering how they'll feel about someone co-opting her to be the real figurehead of a real revolution.
Mm-hmm. All right.
We're not gonna make it. No, we're not gonna make it.
Kazra.
While we were offline, Michelle, you very specifically said to me, why is it for Omens Rising you can have a cup of tea, but then Unlawful Disorder, to play a character that doesn't in fact drink very often at all, you have to have alcohol. This, my friend, is the reason. Sorry.
Yeah.
As you were.
Yeah, case closed. Yeah, just,
as you
yep.
were, sorry.
We have discovered the reason.
Kazra, how's a summary of could we get a quick summary of events from Kazra based on your own unique perspectives?
A summary? What's happening here with these people? Oh my god. Okay. There's a prophecy, and there are some the Lunkan are that, like, they weren't actually after they weren't after Alexandri. They actually want to protect Alexandri, but at the cost of, if anything gets in the way, it lights out, I guess. There are volcanoes involved. We're walking right into them, it seems. Alexandria, nobody out of this group of people that I'm supposed to be keeping alive is really sure that they care whether or not they live or die. So that's great for me. And my job, it's not that they're not sure. Like, they want to live, but they seem really ambivalent about whether they're going to, and kind of confused about whether they have any control over that. And that, to me, is more worrying. Spider tried to get me to do a kidnapping, and thankfully it went fine. The child was a criminal, to be fair, but of some sort, just like a petty criminal, and he was released. Don't worry. And now I'm here in a room with candy and these guys. Thank God for the candy, because I feel a little dizzy.
Okay.
Eyes was aging backwards. That's what I got for you. I don't ask questions. We've talked about this. I don't. I've said everything.
You ask questions constantly. We understand. Yes. My soul, your thoughts on recent events, please.
Hi.
Finally, a sensible answer.
Well, we got a little extra insight into, I guess, the scope of the situation. It's just that it was much bigger than I at least anticipated. And I was already thinking we were dealing with gods. So, but we've got one group, the blood poor guardians, or the claws in the night, depending on who you ask and whether or not you appreciate breathing. They want to help heavy quotation marks Alexandre do what it is they believe she is destined to do, though not directly, I guess. Like, they'll pave the path, but they're not going to make her walk it, except that by paving the path, it's, you know, killing everything in her way and salting the earth if they need to. So
oh, they never said salting the earth. Don't exaggerate
burn,
now.
Burn. They said burn. You're right. I'm sorry. We've got another group who are potentially just being as much manipulated as anyone else, wanting to do revolution that's going to be potentially blamed on Alexandre, which we're going to meet some of them. And I mean, I'll be honestly surprised if the people at this meeting are the ones doing the manipulation and the blame shifting, but I mean, who knows? Oh, and Spider had his life extended by at the request of his brother by the concept of time. So, I mean, it's a fun group to be with.
I just kind of tried to ignore the fact that you told me that.
As a side note, when you mentioned Paws in the Dark, I was like, yep, it's the Blades in the Dark hack that we need but don't deserve. I was just like, that's not the right name, is it? I'm pretty sure I would have had that thought earlier if it was.
Amusingly, there is a Blades in the Dark hack where you can play dogs committing crimes like stealing sausages from
coming soon to Lost World Archive. A one shot.
I was about to say, it's like surely it's just it's like it's Blades in the Dark, but you're cats. It's like, oh yeah, like anthropomorphic. No, no, you're cats in like a house. You are just house cats.
The big heist is, can we knock over the vase today?
Yeah. Get an extra piece of meat. It's like, oh yeah, no.
They left the cat treats accessible on the way out the door. We have 4 hours to figure this out.
It's like Mouse Guard without the whimsy, but with more cat. So who cares?
Alexandre, thoughts on recent events, please.
Everyone wants me to do shit.
Yep, that's a pretty good summary.
Yeah. Everyone wants me to do things, and everyone's telling me I don't have to do things, but they're also not being asked to do things. So, you know. I mean, everyone is asking me to do things. Like, people who don't even necessarily believe that I'm doing the things want me to do things. And they're saying that I'm doing things that I'm not doing. And they're doing it in bad ways. Who goes into a sewer and then says it's something to do with me?
Pretty much stretching it, aren't they?
I mean, that's not just stretching. You're broken.
Okay.
And Gromer is not being stopped from telling me things by La Chanson. So now I have to figure out what is doing that. Because there's a contract. But who agrees not to do that?
All right. Interesting stuff. So, for those of you who have the website available to you, take a quick peek at the map, and you will see, oops, one sec here, the southwestern corner of the map is the area known as the drain pit. What's interesting about this, Kazra would know this, is that a good chunk of the drain pit is actually above ground. the walls kind of swerve around the area of the drain pit. Collectively, you'll notice that there's that chunk of water that just sort of appears there. That's a natural cave that has been exploited for the sewer system. So if on the top right-hand corner, you've got a little drop-down box that'll allow you to turn on the sewer network, and it'll show you in this sort of gray-brown tone, all of the major arteries, as it were, of the axes. And a lot of this stuff is literally the engineers exploiting natural caveways and passages. You'll notice at one point it actually goes underneath the river. It's the actual only place to get from north to south via the sewer system. But it basically predictably touches every district. And so if you know about it and what to do with it, you can actually do a fair amount of getting around with it. Which brings us to the drain pit. 2/3 of the stuff going on in the drain pit area is underground, but then you have the actual area, which is where an underground cave has been repurposed into the collective outfall for dozens upon dozens of person height diameter pipes that all just sort of pour the collective effluent of the city out into this mess. Also, a half dozen similar sized pipes, which are pouring clear water, which has been diverted away from the primary river into this to keep it from turning into a cesspool. You have been walking for some time through the demi-gloom of the underground, because of course the catch is the only way to get to the drain pit proper is you have to go outside the wall. The easiest way to do that, short of having Kazra fly you there, is to find a manhole cover somewhere in Saints Rise and go underground. Does that make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, you could have also started in the pubs and bed houses area, but I have this vague suspicion that Alexandria wouldn't want to spend any more time in the sewer system than is absolutely required, hence walking to Saints Rise and then finding a manhole cover. And they're not really even, access covers, as they are often just vertical shafts with a ladder sticking out of them, and a cage over top of it, city property, do not enter. And it's very clearly that if there was a lock on here, it was removed a long time ago. And the gates the hinges on the safety cage have been greased well enough that the thing doesn't make any noise when the door opens or closes. And so that brings you into the underworld of the underside, if you will. So as I alluded to, the Cliff Spider is sitting on course on the Anchor Peninsula, and the Anchor Peninsula is not quite Swiss cheese, but it has dozens upon dozens of natural caves, tunnels, and that sort of thing. The narrowest are barely wider than Alexandria's shoulders. The average would be wide enough to drive one of your six-legged water buffalo down. And the largest of them would be large enough to put a small house in as accommodations. And so there are several places as you're moving along. All of them have in some way, of course, been just despoiled is too polite a term for the condition of the overall smell down here, because of the sewer system. The only good news is that there's enough fresh water that is being mixed into it that it is thinner than a slurry, and therefore mercifully easier on your collective noses.
Upon hearing that, like, Mysel just makes a gesture and makes that not a thing. We're gonna just like, no, we're not. puts a like a within an area that encapsulates the four of us. It's just like that smell doesn't happen.
Thank you.
I like that. So at some point you're going to encounter somebody else down here who is obviously just as surprised to see you as you are to see them. Gives you all a very cautious look and kind of waves you on and backs up into the darkness. Literally kind of looks at the lot of you, clearly wants none of whatever that is and wherever it's going, and retreats into the darkness. What is interesting is the frequency of these encounters continues as you get closer and closer to the drain pit, until the first individual kind of gives you this side eye. Bit of a bulkish individual. Kind of looks almost orcish in build, but the eyes and facial structure are obviously human. Big, bulky. Left hand ends in a prosthetic hook. Left leg is also a prosthetic as well. Not very well fashioned, but certainly serviceable. Kind of leans forward and looks at the lot of you, and immediately zeroes in on Spider as the dangerous one going to the drain pit.
Yeah, I think Switch tips his hat and it's like, indeed, we got a rather fortuitous invite earlier
All right,
today.
you're heading the right way. I'm going that way too. Everyone's going to be a little nervous. It's the first time in a while we've gotten the call, so welcome. I expect it's going to be a fascinating show tonight. Shouldn't be long, but poetry never is. And he heads off down the corridor ahead of you. He will be encountered.
Poetry meet.
He will encounter a couple of other people who go, eek! Oh, it's you, Bert. Yes, they're with me too. Jerking his phone. So now you're slowly amassing. At one point, there's a dozen of you all kind of strolling along and chatting, and every once in a while, kind of thing from a side alley. Everyone is obviously on nerves' edge. But once they realize that whoever it is that has just loomed out of the darkness is not dangerous or a threat, the countenance is much more, hey, good to see you. Welcome. Oh, you're new? Oh, this is going to be great. I'm so glad you got the message.
Interesting. At some point, Switch leads over to Alexandria and it's like, a poetry mate. It's a real shame Lucas isn't here.
Is this where he spends his time?
Do you not remember how
Oh, I remember the poetry. You know what? It belongs in this sewer. That's correct. You're not wrong.
Wow.
But yes, this is a good place for it.
As you make your way along, the dozen will become 2 dozen, which will become 4 dozen. And as you're moving along, several people will actually, after a certain point, there's essentially an apex where 3 or 4 of the main tunnels all converge. And there are people coming down all of them. And when they sort of get into that area, there's some apparently understanding of this is safe ground. Several folk will take out lanterns or glow mushrooms or something, individual lighting, not something that's going to light the heavens, but at least cast a pool of not darkness around them that you can vaguely see the people around you. Because unless you are half-elven, unless you are orcish, can't see in the dark, and so it's pitch and gloomish down here, right? So you will all come out instead of following the obvious route of all the major piping and stuff with the sounds and smells of the water. The crowd is sort of heading down a side corridor, equally wide as this one, but interestingly enough, Khazra wasn't aware of it. Khazra has by extension, if you will, seen the primary arteries of this. So is the reason the map that is on the World Anvil site with the sewer network, that is, quote, player knowledge. Khazra has been told all of this. She has been down here before. She wasn't aware of this branch. So it is just before there's the square room, which is the outfall, which is the beginning of the natural cave that turns into the waterfall that pours over. Just before that, there's an angle. And they're actually heading to the, effectively at a 90-degree angle to that joint, to the northeastish, if you will. And it's probably a couple of 100 yards worth of walking underground. There's just a slight left to right angle to the way the tunnel works. Obviously, in spite of the fact that it's been carved, they were exploiting again a natural fissure or something to make it easy. So as opposed to cutting straight, it's got a little bit of a zigzag to it. It also, I think, Khazra will be aware that it is also sloping slightly. And so by the time you come out into what is functionally an amphitheater, you've probably gone down almost the whole height of the tunnel in terms of it's probably, it's probably 2 Chantels high. So you've probably gone down at least that high. But it's a very long, casual slope. It's only when you look back and you realize that some people have got lanterns and they're actually looking up at their lantern light that you realize this floor isn't level. So you're going to come out into a structure that, like I say, the closest description is an amphitheater. It's not what it was intended for. You get the impression that this was supposed to be another room, like the room back the way, where they bring in a whole bunch of pipes, aggregate the flow into one place, and then take it out. It's like they got started building here and just never finished it. But the effect is it provides this close enough to an amphitheater sort of feel. And all around the room in the darkness are all kinds of people in various dark clothes with these little lights, all chatting to themselves and that sort of thing. So I have to ask just very quickly around, how's everyone feeling, Alexandra?
Not good.
Oh yeah? Why?
There's a whole lot of people here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're doing here. And I really hope it's nothing to do with me. But it usually is.
Yeah. Okay. Khazra.
This is the most not up that I could possibly be. So,
Yep.
as a rule, and I told Spider this, not my favorite place to be. There are walls and low ceilings. And yeah, there are a lot of people. Those people aren't really bothering me as much, but I would rather not. And all of these people we know, the only thing that we know all these people have in common is that they can read the thing. So they're criminals. That's what we know about all of these people. And they're hanging out down here in an enclosed space. So I don't love it.
Okay.
But here I am.
Yep. Meisel? Can't hear you. Try again.
Yep.
There.
Everyone's attitude has been surprising, I guess. So that's interesting. But it doesn't take away that feeling of walking into a place we don't really understand, filled with people who are probably dangerous. So, yeah. On guard, I guess.
Okay. Spider.
I think Spider is incredibly excited. I think this is the first time in a while that they've felt more at home, in the sense of oh yeah, I remember going to all these kind of clandestine meetings back in the capital, and had only just sort of reached the point where he was an important person at these meetings, but now with a sort of a clean slate in a new city, just is very much aware of creating his own status within the room. Finding a good place that they can, that their group can sit in the amphitheater and observe everyone well, but also be seen by everyone well, because it's like going to the opera, right?
Yeah.
Just come down to the sewers and you need to be able to be seen by the people.
Exactly.
And I think he's also just observing, subtly trying to pick up on who else in this room is important. Who are people starting to side eye or trying to curry favor with in the pre-chat that's going on at the moment, like all that kind of thing.
If I say islands of influence, do you understand what I mean socially?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what you were, and this is something Alexandri would be intimately familiar with as well, is that as you're hanging around, people are gravitating around the spiders and Alexandries of the room. And you can so you'll have this group of a half dozen people, or 8 or 10 or 12, and they're all standing around one person who's clearly holding the floor, and you'll hear they'll gesture, there'll be the appropriate ripple of laughter. Whether or not anyone heard the joke is irrelevant. Everyone else laughed, so you laugh too, so you look cool. And so you can see those pockets of this is that group and this is that group, but they're all here. Right. Yeah, no, that is immediately obvious, I think, to Spider. Just give me a moment. I will ask.
How dark is it? You were saying it's still sort of, is it still that sort of demi-gloom you mentioned?
Absolutely. There's no artificial lighting down here. You are surrounded by a heavily compressed sedimentary rock that's 60 feet thick between you and the surface, and that's the quick way out. It's dark like a coal mine. If it wasn't for the fact that everyone else at least seems to have known to have brought a little light with them, the equivalent of a personal flashlight or a personal glow lamp of some kind, and that's all it is. It's no more light than a tea light kind of thing. They're not walking around with halogens. It's the equivalent light of a tea light, perhaps a little gemstone, or actually a little candle in a glass or something, just so everyone can see the people moving around. But it does create this very interesting sensation of all these little lights and peoples and glimpses of faces moving around in the gloom and the dark.
I might huddle the others together, sort of like take their hands and sort of try and put some true sight on the group.
Yeah, sure.
Not see in the dark.
Okay, but the smell comes back though. That's the thing, right?
It won't.
I won't.
Those are different things.
Yes, but you can only sustain
You can
one,
only sustain
right?
one
I
at a
can
time.
sustain one boon. The thing getting rid of the smell is a bane.
Ah,
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
I'm using the phantasm, which
Gotcha.
I do have to sustain the phantasm. So if I can't take like minor actions, I can't keep the phantasm up. But you can do multiple minor actions as long as they're not the same action.
Yes. Okay.
So
Cool. So the way you're getting away with this, as it were, is that you're sustaining one bane, one boon. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
I understand. It's like this is technically like that is how it works, but I know some people don't play it.
I just think the idea of Kazra and Alexandri having to put up with either being able to see in the dark or smell in the dark is just fascinating. So,
Can Alexandri see in the dark anyway because she's half elf?
No.
Yeah. So that everyone now has level 7 true sight.
Level
Wow,
7 true
nice
sight.
I'm assuming that means
Are we seeing through
something
time?
a lot.
Which have we just won the campaign?
Though to be fair, if we get to level 9, it's like you can go. You basically can see through time. Yes. No, this is basically you will see extraordinary. So it like mundane things like darkness aren't going to be a problem, but you can also see magical effects if someone's trying to cloak themselves. Anything that would be seen through like extra visual perception. Mundane effects, you're basically at advantage 1 to detect like concealment, hidden passages, any like kind of something with hidden storage, concealed traps.
Okay. Very cool. If that's the case,
you will see through any phantasm as well.
All right. So I would request anyone who cares to make a perception check with advantage 1. Your DC, because it is an odd number, it is an 18.
So, is this the time that we find out that like Kazra's not actually like a bird, but Kazra's like a dragon also?
I was just gonna say it's been Damiani all the time.
It's just just this lady with like a helicopter backpack being like,
I am.
I got 21.
Suddenly it's Aquidian. Yeah.
It's just Aquidian. Oh no. To be fair, I would be very impressed if like the bird art just changed. Just be like,
can you imagine? I don't even know who this is. It just turns up.
Yeah.
Guy.
Oh.
I rolled bad.
I got a 19.
All right.
So
if you 3. All right. So if you rolled 19 or higher, you will see 1 or 2 of the following things. I will leave it up to you how much of it you do see. First of which there are a couple of figures moving around with significant confidence on the makeshift stage up ahead. They're completely clothed in black, very much in the style of Japanese puppeteers. And so they're moving around and completely just blending into the otherwise ink and darkness. They are apparently in the process of preparing to light a couple of braziers on the stage. The second thing is that there are 2 people. Remember I commented this looked like it was a congregator for some of the for some planned pipework extension. There are a couple of those pipes which come in near the ceiling and are just kind of there. The one over the extreme right and the one over the extreme left both have someone in them. And the other thing is that several people around here, the Alexandries and the spiders of the room, are carrying magical equipment of various kinds, be it rings, blades, the lighting itself. There's at least one of them who absolutely is an ebon elf in disguise, is using a glamour to look like a very, very attractive dancing girl, and is in fact a very, very obvious ebon elf male, who's doing a really good job of playing the part. But literally everything about them, they're standing there basically in the equivalent of ninja gear. As soon as the glamour comes off, the glamour is them wearing the very typical skimpy dancing girl outfit. And, obviously they've got a hat on the ground and there's a few people cheering and tossing the odd coin at her and what have you. And it's actually this ebon elf guy, who, by the way, is moving pretty convincingly. He's quite a good dancer.
Pullman all over again.
Michelle, now that this has happened, are any of those other people now looking at us?
That's actually the next thing I was going to do, was to roll their perception to see if they can't help but notice that all of you are suddenly doing this.
For me, because Kazra's not looking at anything at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And is anyone looking at the bird?
But you're surely you're pointedly not looking at anything at this point.
I'm just favor the fact that I rolled a 1, as she is pointedly not looking at anything.
What is Kazra doing while
trying to keep her feathers, like her wings, like trying to keep her wings as close to her body as possible so they don't get any drain juice on them.
Drain juice.
Drain juice.
Okay, Alexandri, you remember last session I asked you to roll a logic roll and you rolled a 6?
Uh-huh.
You are now not the one who has to worry about the lowest roll of the campaign. That, ladies and gentlemen, on 2d6 and a d20 is a total of 4. Everyone is so busy with the usual routine and socialing that they've completely. Everyone is, the game last night. Everyone is having that. Oh, they must be here with them moment about you. And so no one is paying you folks any amount of attention whatsoever. You're getting the odd glance just out of curiosity. I mean, Alexandria is by any description we've seen a very attractive, strikingly attractive woman. Spider is obviously the criminal mastermind in his element under these conditions. Kazra is a Chantel-sized large bright bird. And then there's the kid. You are by definition attracting some notice.
Hang on a second.
I'm tall. Kazra's taller than Chantel.
Yeah, I thought Kazra was actively like 7 foot or something stupid like that. Like,
oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Notice. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Kaz is 2 meters. Kaz is damn near 2 meters. That's right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, no. So Kazra. I mean, it's the crowd. Kazra.
There's definitely like a moment in this like settling in where Spider puts a gloved hand on Kazra's arm and is just like, we have nothing to fear here, Kazra.
What about the drain juice?
Like, that's the first thing. That's the first time you've told me that. Literally everything that's happened before now, it's been kind of scary. So forgive me if I don't believe you right away.
Yeah. But that's the thing. The scale of things that scare little Mysel here aren't going to turn up here.
Don't say that. Why would you say something like that?
Like, Mysel clearly goes to say something and then thinks better of it. Like, it's not a helpful statement.
We're all going to die.
All right then.
Now you see
After a few minutes, very much in an orchestrated, on cue sort of way, the two braziers at the front of the makeshift stage, thump, in a way that can only be replicated by lots of by a good bit of charcoal and several ounces of naphtha. And they've obviously been doped because they're not glowing, that sort of orangey white natural color of flame. One of them is glowing the shimmering blue and the other one is glowing the shimmering green color. My soul might be aware that's probably okay, so that's ferric and that's probably copper. Okay, yeah, we've seen this. I've seen this before at fireworks, right? Several people are wearing similar long robes, looking very ominous and yet stately, come out onto the stage. For lack of a better way of putting it, the impression my soul and Alexandri have is most of them form a chorus line while one steps forward.
One singular sensation.
Mm-hmm.
The one who steps forward pulls the cowl back. He has the description is the face of nobility denied. You can see he's somebody's bastard. It's the only way to explain the fine blood, the square jaw, the fine cheekbones, the everything about his bearing, the square shoulders, everything. Alexandri has met this person dozens of times as Sinru. That's obviously not Sinru, though. This is somebody's bastard. There's no question about it. Very good bloodline. And that's that. Friends and allies, both old and new. Thank you for heeding the call tonight. This is not the first time we meet in public, yet in secret, nor will it be the last. The clock is ticking, my friends. Every passing moment brings us closer to our dream. Our dream to, and as he says, live free, the chorus line does the air punch and shouts, live free! From the cold and indifference of a distant shining capital in the background. And it's reverberating off the walls. And people are kind of, you can see the effect is hyping the crowd almost immediately. Our parents are long learned that this gap, this distance between us and those who came to conquer this place with their ignorance means that for they and us, their children, there is no progress with the Confederacy. Tell me, friends, if advancement is on the merits of the individual and their contribution to the greater good, why is there a second generation of San Diego? What have they done greater than I or you? Who among the Sinru Meritocrates knows me well enough to determine my worthiness? Or you, pointing at Spider, yours? And then the chorus line, who judges my merit? And kind of laughs.
I love that.
No
like,
one.
This is going on, and like as they pointed Spider, like he's sort of half ignoring it and just like slowly taking off a leather glove and just like looks up and around as they're like all shouting at this speech.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I am. Yeah, let's go around.
Alexandria right now is like, oh, this is possibly the most dangerous place I could ever be in my life. Hooray. I don't think I've ever been somewhere that's more dangerous for specifically me in my life. Oh, gee. And I've had danger thigh calf woman after me. And this is this is dangerous for me. Help.
Ezra's trying to speak into the wall now.
I'm just cloak is I need to buy a cloak so I can hide in it.
Alexandria and Kazura, could you please make a logic roll?
I was literally thinking the exact same thing about the cloak. Like, can I have someone's cloak? Like, oh my god.
Spires, Kazura's trying to pull your cloak off.
God.
Oh no, that's an 11.
Mm-hmm.
I did better than that, but oh shit, no, I didn't. 15. My logic skill is 0. I didn't realize.
I didn't hear what you said. What was the number you came up with, Kaz?
15.
15. 15 is in fact the target number. So you are going to remember a conversation you had with Alexandria about just yesterday, I think it was, about her, the singer person that she knows that was, he did something, basically did an opera where she had the crowd completely enthralled and they were using a bard type of magic from that's taught by one of the other human countries. You don't remember which one, but this feels to you. You can feel it tugging at you in a way that doesn't make any sense. You're not really invested in what's going on here, and yet you're still feeling affected by it. My soul, of course, you all have true sight with a ridiculous power level on it. So you are going to be very aware that every time the chorus line, if you will, air punches and shouts their line, the glowing braziers glitter with intensity and ripples of magic propagate out through the crowd. So he does the whole "who judges my merit" thing, pointing at Spider, etc. And he kind of laughs and shakes his head. No one. That's who. Not for me. Not for you. But that's all going to change. You, pointing at someone in the crowd, me, us, together, we will change this. No more distant rulership. No more distant ignorance. And the clock strikes its first bell tomorrow, my friends. Let me tell you how. The Dumilkoi governor has decided to use might of arms to settle a dispute with the Ivory Scorpion clan. The Gavernoi has decided that kindness and diplomacy for those whose lands we encroach upon is wasted. And so, as always with progress, they turn to steel and cruelty. But we travel these steps. He's walking back and forth across the stage, and everyone is kind of just watching. And you guys do not need to make resistance rolls. It's automatic. You are player characters. You are immune to the effect. But even at that, you find his charisma fascinating. We travel these steps. We walk this valley. We row this river. We trade with these other folks, do we not? All of us? Our fortunes are intertwined, are they not? Their hardships at the hands of the army will eventually become our hardships at the hands of bankers and trade lords, will they not? You can hear murmurs of assent through the crowd. We know this. As we know the sun shall rise with the dawn, so we know this. We also know an important, crucial truth, which the Sinru refuse to ignore. All of those folks upon the Sky Anvil Plains are, and again, it's the bellow, our neighbors, not our enemies. Okay. It is time, my friends, both old and new, to do something different, to chart a new direction, for us, the ruled, to make a new choice for ourselves. It is time. And again, the chorus line, try option 3. We shall depose our rulers, these unmerited Sanjuio, with no accomplishment but their birth. We shall send them back from where they came, banished from this place, this our home, to never return. And as I said, that first moment starts tomorrow. And excited talking amongst the crowd. His voice is obviously being magically amplified, but the effect it is having is also being magically amplified. At the same token, I don't think it's lost on Mysel in years upon years of hearing tyrants that he's a populist speaking the message that that they want to hear to start with. Right? We know our friends on the plains are in peril from our unjust rulers. So she has crafted a simple but elegant plan, my friends. One of honesty and kindness. One born of knowing that you must treat those you live alongside well if you wish to be treated in kind. Imagine, he says, gesturing to someone in the crowd, if your neighbor, the baker, overheard ruffians planning to rob you blind as you close your shop. You'd wish them to warn you, would you not? Gesturing to somebody else. Of course, that's what good neighbors do. And if you heard thieves plotting to do untoward towards that same baker, you would warn them, would you not? He says, pointing at Kazra. Of course you would. That is what good neighbors do. So she has sent messengers to warn the Ivory Scorpion clan because that is how we wish to be known. When we are free from all this progress, they and the others who live alongside us will know us to be good neighbors. She is here among you now, friends, the mistress of veils. She is here listening. She understands the pain we suffer, the oppression we endure. She judges each of us, myself included, measuring us, each of us, knowing how to have the best aid in her grand plan to liberate this city. You, he says, pointing at Mysel, even you will be crucial to the role she gives, no matter how small. What is an avalanche, my friends, but pebbles and snow moving together in coordinated might? No, he gestures at somebody else. Don't look about. You would not recognize her. She could be the beggar in tatters beside you, the dancer in fine cloth by the fountain, pointing at the ninja. She could be disguised as the troll off to the side. You would not know. Her cunning is such that she cannot be known at a glance by just anyone. Only a few are entrusted with that knowledge. Those that have served her well and with loyalty are entrusted. But you will know of her cunning by the time the sun sets tomorrow. Heed my words. With the army dealt a stinging blow and retreating to the city, she and we will have been brought closer to true freedom. Now go. Wait. Listen to the rumors upon the morrow. Hear the tales of the defeat. Listen to the lamentation of the Confederates. Then watch for the signs. Signs like those that brought you here tonight. For we shall rally again like this, and I will share with you the next step of her plan, and you, all of you here, shall have a place within that plan and the shaping of the history of your children. Keep your lips tight, your eyes wary, your ears keen. It has begun, and you were here to see it. Now go. And with that, instantly the two braziers go out, and blackness falls upon the stage. And the crowd is all around you. They're going nowhere for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Does the speaker just like leave immediately, or is it just like?
Yes, you all have true sight, so you see what happens.
Yeah.
Literally drops through a trapdoor on the floor. Poof, the lights go out. Poof, he disappears through a trapdoor. Clunk, and then the chorus line. Half goes one way, half goes the other way, and they've got hands on their hips. Obviously with a hand on a weapon in case someone figures this is the chance to rush the stage in the dark, right?
Oh, it's very tempting.
Is it though?
Rush the stage isn't the direction I was going, but
Literally anywhere but here is tempting. Oh my god. Oh my god. What if I quit my job? I don't need a job.
well, it's quite a romantic sentiment, isn't it?
Not the word I would have used, but yeah.
So over the next few moments, like I say, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 minutes before the crowd actually does what they were told and starts to file out. The individuals with lights heading out the various directions that they came in through. It's going to take there's probably over 100 people here all total, 100, maybe as many as 150. It's hard to tell with the groups moving and chatting and, oh, hello, George, and that sort of thing going on. So somewhere 100, 150 based on the numbers you saw coming down the corridor with you and you're joining, and then the numbers of half dozens scattered around when you'd already gotten here. So it's going to take a few minutes for all of that to leave, because there's obviously the Alexandrians and Spiders have clearly heard this speech before or something similar to it, and they're not in a rush to leave. Their body language clearly communicates they are safe here and they know it. The folks that you saw in the pipes, you realize, are still there, watching the crowd very carefully. You will eventually have noticed that they've got very big crossbows with them. Possibly over. Spider will suspect at least one of them is carrying essentially the equivalent of an over-under crossbow.
Jamie, don't know what that means.
Literally, it's 2 crossbows stuck one on top of the other. One pull of the trigger drives a pair of bolts at the same time.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Absolutely a sniping weapon. Devastating if you're a single crossbow bolt will just outright kill most normal human beings. That is the instant double tap, right? The ninja, by the way, still playing the part of the dancing girl, will find some cute merchant to tickle the chin of, and they'll wander off together. Very still looking to Spider's eyes like a ninja, yet you sort of can see the outline edge of the glamour and the skirts trailing, and the ninja kind of draping himself over the burly merchant's shoulder and making cuckoo noises at him as they head down the corridor. No, but the snipers apparently don't see the ninja. They don't have the ability to pierce the glamour that you can. So there's going to be a few minutes of I'm going to call it artificial sound barrier around you, people chatting and things like that, and being very concerned and excited. And again, because that roll was so poor earlier on, they're not really paying attention to you. You're clearly supposed to be here. You're here with George, obviously, so you're okay. What are you all talking about and thinking and feeling?
Why are we here again?
It's reconnaissance, isn't it, Chanson? You have to know things about the city that you plan to live in.
I certainly know a lot more about the city than I did previously. That's for sure.
Ignorance isn't helpful, despite it sometimes being comforting.
Wise words.
That person, I don't know where they're getting their information from. Don't know who she, her is. But it sounds like they just want to upturn the Sinro so that they can be Sinro.
Yeah. I get very worried when people start talking about things being taken from them, and they're not very specific as to what or by whom.
We talked a little about there being like cycles, repeated behavior, and some of the details not really changing. I've seen that speech a few times. And the person giving it generally doesn't care about the people hearing it.
Do we have to stay here?
I mean, we have other places to be. To an
Anywhere
extent.
that's not here?
I wouldn't mind having a few conversations with the right people.
I should not be here.
I also should not be here. You, Spider, you're probably the only person out of all of us that could do that. So maybe you should. But maybe bringing all of us going down here was a mistake, and we should have thought about it for another hour and a half.
No, I think it's good to know.
I don't know if I needed to know firsthand.
That's fair.
What do you think about what he said, Kaja? Do the Sinru back in Shining Capital have the right to judge you and determine your worth?
It didn't seem like that was what he really meant by that. And I was kind of curious if it had been a kind of question and answer period rather than a sort of call and response sermon situation. I probably would have asked who exactly was trying to determine his worth. But, he scares me a lot more than the Sinru. Yeah, there's a lot of like injustice and inequity, and I mean, you won't find anyone more disenfranchised than a 60, but this is a lot of people, a lot of very, very angry people, and I don't think any of them know what they're angry about.
They've been told that they need to be angry. And then they've been told who they should be angry at.
And they've been told to wait for a sign, but haven't been told exactly what the sign is. A lot of people are going to get hurt, is what I got from that. Very badly, very soon.
Not even convinced whoever... If there's someone behind, I assume there's someone behind that, even the guy on stage. I don't even know if controlling cliff spiders their goal.
Definitely not.
Given that the options of who those people could be, simply, well, the chaos and violence could be the goal.
He was compelling them to like talk with him. You guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
Like he was.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean, I don't approve of the methods at all.
but you agree with them.
Do you think that the governor should use his household army to enforce trade sanctions on the people who live on this plane?
No. But this looks like an army too.
And that's assuming that's what's happening. We have that guy's word that that's the situation, and wow, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. So
I can't throw him, so that's how much.
That said, I've seen it time and time again. Local noble thugs imposing their force of arms and saying it's their will and right.
if there wasn't a grain of truth at the core of what they were saying, it wouldn't be as effective.
It's just very vague. That's the scary thing.
If they succeed, then what happens?
Which they?
Yes.
Well,
Cycle starts again.
Yes.
that's the bit I'm not so keen on.
I'll say this. The man on that stage doesn't look like the rest of these people.
He's not.
He doesn't look like, to me, in my experience, and admittedly my experience is limited, he doesn't look like somebody that wants to overthrow the Sinru. He just looks like somebody that wishes that he was one. Like Maisa was saying. I don't think he cares how he gets there. Or who he has to hurt to get there.
Oh yeah, that guy definitely needs to go. That I mean, I'm with you on that one.
So, if they are trying to blame this on me, then...
I mean, that's assuming the they that's blaming on you are the ones here
Yes.
and not much further up the chain.
Yes. Definitely. However, there is nothing I can do. I look Sinru. And tomorrow there is going to be a something.
I mean, that being said, if their argument is the Sinru that haven't proven their worth, I feel like we're pretty easy to prove your worth.
It's really not. It's really very not.
That was his argument. I mean, it's magically enhanced, and
but how do you prove my worth?
I mean, literal magical healing.
Mm-hmm. And what have I done that can be proven to an angry mob?
Literal magical healing?
To an angry mob?
You can talk down a mob. I'm not saying it's easy or it's advisable. It's doable.
I don't think
before or after they kill me?
I mean, traditionally, it's better to do it before.
Yes, that's what I thought. However, what something looks like tends to be what people respond to first.
Can confirm. Tall and blue.
Sinru. People respond to what I look like before they respond to who I am. Or what I've done. So... this place is dangerous for me right now. And it sounds like the whole place is going to be dangerous for me tomorrow.
Lysol, if they come for Alexandria, you're probably not far off. I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, I know.
Spider kind of got a call out, so we know for sure that he's okay. But you're both going to want to. And Kazar kind of like looks around, conspiratorially.
The crowd has been thinning steadily, and it's not going to be much longer now before you're going to start being obviously still here.
Yeah, she kind of places herself in a position where if one were facing Alexandria and Mysol, they would have to see her before they saw them.
They're looking at the broad back of a full 60, yeah, as opposed to them. Yep, nope, makes sense.
She kind of angles herself so that like they are kind of obscured.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a normal full 60 and a normal guy, Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And these two cloaked also thieves that are normal and look the right way. Me too, power to the people. Me too also.
To an extent. And I realize this is not any better. But I'm less worried about them killing Alexandre and myself and you, because I feel like we can stop that from happening. The concern is what we would need to do to stop that from happening.
I think that the best way to stop that from happening would be not to be here. But that depends on how strongly you guys feel about our city. Because something is going to change tomorrow.
Alexandre.
Not being here means other people get hurt.
That's right. That's why I said that.
Alexandre, you and I have things we need to get done. People we want to save. This city, if it weren't for Lucas and V, I know exactly what I'd be doing here.
What would you be doing?
Rooting out the corrupted heart of this business and returning to it to the purpose it ought to serve. But we have people to save, and you have a purpose to serve. And if you want to be out of this city by tomorrow, Boris and Alexei are ready to go.
At the end of the day, in terms of your goals, Spider. Sorry, he wouldn't say Spider. No, he probably would. I take that back.
Wait.
Keeping
it close.
I imagine the city itself will still be here to come back to.
That gentleman might be a few steps harder to reach, but it hasn't stopped me before.
There's a couple of people we could talk to before we go. Make sure people are aware, I guess.
I want to talk to my family before we go anywhere.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just the sinners that are going to get hurt, though.
Of course not.
There is.
Yep. That's what I said before as well. Yeah.
Them and anybody else that's in the way.
Or just anyone
And
nearby.
It's just anyone.
Yeah. That's what I meant by in the way. I meant
The
existing.
mob's, as you said, mob reacts before it thinks, but at the same time, the mob's going to suffer as well. No one's coming out of this. No one's going to come out of this well.
I'm gonna
Except
say
a
something.
handful of people who made it happen in the first place. They're going to get what they want.
Mysel, I'm going to say something that's going to sound a little unorthodox and kind of goes outside the bounds of the job that I was sent here to do, which is to keep you guys safe. None of you guys think less of me, okay? You guys have magic? What if we just kept them here?
What do you mean?
They can't leave, then nothing happens tomorrow, right?
Well,
It's
this
crazy.
is the other side of the version of my plan as well. He just like starts gently running his hand along the walking cane that he has.
What do you mean by kept them here?
Oh, and then Cassier's kind of like, she looks over at Alexandria, but she's looking at Spider like, oh, I thought that I was going to get a lot more pushback on that.
So at this point, by the way, it's rapidly becoming you're some of the only ones left here, so you're going to have to keep moving. You can chat as you walk, but the crowd has thinned an awful lot, and if you don't want to be, it's going to be getting progressively harder for Kazra to keep Alexandria and Mysel in obvious. So you're going to have to get moving.
We need to get going. We can keep the conversation private as we move.
What do you mean by that?
Gonna have to walk and talk, but
I can make sure no one overhears us. Same as in the inn.
Spider's not intending to leave the room, so you guys can go.
And most everyone else left.
Like
Yes.
I say, there's like at this, everybody of interest has left. There's still a few groups who are sort of dragging their heels. They're chit-chatting, or they're tipping a flask and what have you. But you're rapidly, like I say, you're rapidly getting down to the point where you're going to be the last ones in the room.
you guys
And
remember
if the idea was anonymity in the crowd, you're running out of crowd to be anonymous in, is the reason I was bringing it up.
Yeah.
if you guys remember the cave, the part of this is a cave system, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we were Alexandria, to put it very bluntly, my far-fetched idea was that if we were to collapse the major entrances to the drain pit, then there would be no mob tomorrow. It doesn't eliminate the problem forever, but it is a major inconvenience.
Mob's being being manipulated though.
That's the other problem. But if you can get rid of the mob, then there's no one but the manipulator left, right?
Okay. Just because the players, for lack of a better way of putting it, the characters were in the moment more than the players were. The stated plan that was described is that the army is marching out tomorrow morning to kick the crap out of a kobold tribe. The kobolds have been warned the army is coming. The army is going to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
And if the army is crippled up, torn to pieces by an ambush, by definition, there's fewer of them able to hold the town. That is the story. That is the plan that was explained.
Yeah.
In case all of the hand waving and boo-rah overwhelmed the players, what the characters clearly heard was, it's not the idea to turn this bunch. No, they were actually all told, shut up, go home, don't talk about it. Keep your ears open. Wait till you hear, and I'll prove to you we can do this. Because by tomorrow night, the Confederates will all be crying in their cups about the ass kicking they took.
This is step one of the eventual bad.
Yeah.
Oh, very
But
good.
the
Yeah.
eventual bad is not tomorrow.
Good. Great. The eventual bad. Okay.
Oh, we should go. So
Indeed, I
and
think you should.
he's like, you should be seen to leave. What you do after that, that's up to you.
I mean, Alexandra doesn't need to be told at all, really. She's on her way out.
I'm gonna follow, I guess. Why not?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, Spider sits back down as they leave and just sort of watches the last remaining activity in the room.
Can I cast a boon?
Okay. What I think I would like to do is go to a break. We'll come back. And everyone but Spider will be safely back at the inn. They will not be interfered with. And then we can and then Spider can explain what the cunning plan is.
Yes.
Before leaving, Alexandria would like to cast a boon, but I'll tell you what that is.
Yeah,
after
sure.
the break, because I need
Sounds
to find
good.
it.
All right, that works. So we'll take a quick break, and so we'll be back shortly, and we'll find out what Spider is up to.
Okie dokie. Why hands?
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
You
Think they would be afraid.
You look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me?
Depends
In
on
that
your
case-
answer.
My name is Michel Vaillancourt. I'm the games master and storyteller for Unlawful Disorder. I've been asked to give a summary of events of the game, but that seems a little strange because, well, that's the job of the players. Don't ask me what the story is, I'm just the guy telling it. So, let's talk about how we got here. So, about a year ago, I saw a bunch of really talented people doing some really cool stuff, and I thought, well, that's cool, I'll have to keep them in mind. And a little while after that, I got a call from a roleplay channel asking me to set up a game. They wanted a European time zone friendly game. So I went back and I called up the cool people doing the cool stuff. So that would be Chantel and company. Cool. So, after that, we took a little bit of time, discussed a good D&D campaign, and I brought forward one of my homebrew worlds. And they looked at me and said, no.
You're sure he's not gonna eat me?
He's not gonna eat you.
Okay, I'm a friend then.
Depends
In
on
that
your
case,
answer.
It's not the name that's on the bounty, and that's all that matters to me.
Okay. Now I just have to remember to respond to it.
Well, you'll do that, won't you, Aerith? Aerith,
Are you going to eat them?
Considers it.
By the way, you have no clue what she's on about. Like, you've never seen one of these things before.
he's a vegan!
oh, what?
Definitely don't know what that is.
I don't care what he is. He's got big teeth.
You do have big teeth. Not incorrect.
Theo's grasp of the trade tongue is
Oh,
body.
do you? Oh, do you? What do you eat them?
Sort of looks back up. I will not consume that person.
Could you be a little more generic and just say you're not going to consume anyone in the city as well? Just to make it easier.
That'd be great.
So reverting back to Elvish, like,
Just try.
what language?
know?
I'm not gonna eat people.
I know you're not going to eat people.
Language is hard.
I know. Just say it the way I'm telling you to say it. I'm not going to eat the city.
I'm not gonna eat the city.
Yes.
I'm not gonna eat the city.
Yes. Sam,
Mental image got too funny.
Why hands?
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
You
Think that you'd be afraid.
You look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me?
Depends
In
on
that
your
case-
answer.
My name is Michel Vaillancourt. I'm the games master and storyteller for Unlawful Disorder. I've been asked to give a summary of events of the game, but that seems a little strange because, well, that's the job of the players. Don't ask me what the story is, I'm just the guy telling it. So, let's talk about how we got here. So, about a year ago, I saw a bunch of really talented people doing some really cool stuff, and I thought, well, that's cool, I'll have to keep them in mind. And a little while after that, I got a call from a roleplay channel asking me to set up a game. They wanted a European time zone friendly game. So I went back and I called up the cool people doing the cool stuff. So that would be Chantel and company. Cool. So, after that, we took a little bit of time, discussed a good D&D campaign, and I brought forward one of my homebrew worlds. And they looked at me and said, no.
You're sure he's not gonna eat me?
He's not gonna eat you.
Okay, I'm a friend then.
Depends
In
on
that
your
case,
answer.
It's not the name that's on the bounty, and that's all that matters to me.
Okay. Now I just have to remember to respond to it.
Well, you'll do that, won't you, Eric? Eric,
Are you going to eat them?
Considers it.
By the way, you have no clue what she's on about. Like, you've never seen one of these things before.
he's a vegan!
Oh, what?
Definitely don't know what that is.
I don't care what he is. He's got big teeth.
You do have big teeth. Not
Theo's grasp of the trade tongue is
Oh.
body.
Do you? Oh, do you? What do you eat them?
Sort of looks back up. I will not consume that person.
Could you be a little more generic and just say you're not going to consume anyone in the city as well? Just to make it easier.
That'd be great.
So reverting back to Elvish, like
Just try.
what language?
know?
I'm not gonna eat people.
I know you're not going to eat people.
Language is hard.
I know. Just say it the way I'm telling you to say it. I'm not going to eat the city.
I'm not gonna eat the city.
Yes.
I'm not gonna eat the city. Mental image got too funny.
Why hands?
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
You...
Think don't be afraid.
You look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me?
Depends
In
on
that
your
case-
answer.
My name is Michel Vaillancourt. I'm the games master and storyteller for Unlawful Disorder. I've been asked to give a summary of events of the game, but that seems a little strange because, well, that's the job of the players. Don't ask me what the story is, I'm just the guy telling it. So, let's talk about how we got here. So, about a year ago, I saw a bunch of really talented people doing some really cool stuff, and I thought, well, that's cool, I'll have to keep them in mind. And a little while after that, I got a call from a roleplay channel asking me to set up a game. They wanted a European time zone friendly game. So I went back and I called up the cool people doing the cool stuff. So that would be Chantel and company. Cool. So, after that, we took a little...
We have returned.
All right, then. Welcome, welcome, fans. Okay. I had something I wanted to say before we got any further ahead, and it's just gone away from me. Oh well.
Can I? I'm happy to roll if when it becomes relevant, but before leaving, Alexandre would attempt to leave the regeneration boon up.
Yep. Done. If it becomes relevant, I'll get you to throw dice at the point that regeneration is an issue Spider is worrying about.
Mysore would make sure that wasn't obvious to anyone.
Keep in mind there is a limit to the number of phantasms you can keep running. One of those is filtering obnoxio the sniffs from the immediate area.
But phantasm is essentially within like a 20-foot cube. I control what senses.
Yes.
So as long as I stay within there, it's like the smell can stay, but visually it's like in the fact that magic is a visual element.
Oh, okay. So it's not you're covering up okay, you're covering up the fact that she's casting a spell versus that Spider has a spell on it. Okay, I misunderstood.
Yes, sorry,
Right.
yes.
You were getting at. Yeah, okay.
Just sort of like, so if anyone looking over is like, that was magic. It was just like, that was a, pat on the shoulder.
Fair enough. Nope, that makes perfect sense. So,
yeah, I mean, given what you said off camera, which I clearly misunderstood about anyone of interest having left, then Spider will head back up to the surface with these guys anyway, so it's not...
Okay, very good. That's the reason I just checked in. I wasn't sure when you said you were waiting to be approached. I just realized, okay, I'm not going to literally have the player sit there, quote, killing time when I know that there's no one there for him to talk to. So, yeah, sorry about that.
Besides,
Yeah,
we can find something better for him to kill.
No, it's
absolutely.
All right. Once we're back at the surface, I have an idea. But that's
yep. Just by the way, for the I just remember where it was. I've posted a link to the speech on the World Anvil site, and for the players, a copy of the PDF version of that has also been posted to the Discord channel. Because there's a lot of content in that, I didn't want the players having to sit there, trying to furiously copy while I'm trying to channel a Southern Baptist preacher.
Oh, don't worry. I've heard this times.
Yeah.
we got that. We got that.
Were we able to pick up the name of the fellow that gave the speech amongst the chat?
I'll tell you what, I will let all of you either roll prescience or perception with disadvantage 2 to have heard the individual's name discussed amongst the crowd, but he was not formally introduced. There was no, and now introducing, there's nothing. He just walked on, delivered his monologue, and then vanished.
Yeah, but everyone was talking about him, so I imagine...
Yeah, exactly. So, but again, there was a lot of buzz, and so the question is whether or not it happened with it. One, did it happen near you? And two, did you hear it? So I'm okay for those of you with prescience. Go ahead and use that instead, representing supernatural abilities.
Prescience.
I only got an 11.
Also at disadvantage 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Got an 18.
An 18. All right.
14.
14. All right. Leave it to Spider. So all of you have different names and none of them line up, but Spider has heard the same name 3 times in a row. And it is the name, actually, I believe that is on the PDF I linked. Let me just double check that very quickly. PDF, I said. There we are. Yes. Yes. Salados Volinar.
Does that name ring a bell at all?
I don't know. It would be
like the surname, I mean.
Yeah. No, actually, specifically not. It's an assumed name. So yeah, he's somebody's bastard, and he's specifically not using that name.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you would know. I was just trying to figure if there was any tangible way, but no, there's no way.
Perk. I've never used this perk. It's just here because she is. Perk is upper class.
All right.
I don't even know what the perk does. What does it tell me? What does it
know people?
I'm just upper class, like that's just how it is.
So classy.
I'm just classy.
You always know how to blind.
You always know when you've been surrounded by a hostile pitchfork waving mob. Yeah.
High birth, old money, or otherwise given access to resources beyond the common citizen, you are treated as a benefactor by the lower classes. They will trust and help you in the hopes of being rewarded for their efforts. I should be using this more. You're also treated as a peer by those of similar or slightly higher social standing and can typically request an audience with them. In addition, representatives of the law generally assume you to be beyond reproach unless they're presented with compelling evidence to the contrary.
Johnny!
I should be using this.
Privilege.
So I was just gonna say. So the reality is I think when you created the character, you knew about it. The problem is that there's that little itty bitty detail about the bounty, about the wanted poster, which makes walking up and yelling "Yo, it me" really awkward.
Yes. However.
That was like the entire
yeah.
crazy point. No, the other one. The
Glitter Delta Cove.
Yeah, the Good Adults the Cove arc was entirely dealing with that tension.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel I should be using it more. Just looking rich is enough. Anyway,
Have privilege, do crime.
have privilege, do crime. What the hell?
We're trying to get away from the real world.
For free. The real world found us.
So Shelley doesn't get to do this in real life. So let them have it.
This is me getting away from the real world.
Exactly. I'm all for it. Have privilege, do crime. Let's go.
What if privilege and not crime?
No. That's the way of the world. I have to taste it.
I'm not legitimately suggesting that possibility. I'm merely imagining if it could exist.
I guess the thing that I was kind of looking for with that was whether or not their features resembled anyone, even distantly.
Okay. I tell you what, I will actually make a learning roll. Dredge your memories, as it were. Make a learning roll.
Dredge the drain.
Roll higher. It just isn't a discussion, for lack of a better way of putting it. This fella's pretty obscure.
You got to frack that learning roll.
I mean, 15, 19, 23, 25.
Right.
Is 25 high enough learning?
Go off then.
Let me.
As a reminder for those folks in the crowd, and for the GM who desperately needs to stall for an extra minute or two, a roll of a 25, I believe, is typified as an epic outcome. Yes, epic outcome. Examples are translated text in an actual alien language. So yeah, no, that's okay. So
Alexandria,
you know something.
Isn't always intelligent, but when she is.
Yeah. So the good news, and I'm going to do this the only way that makes relevant sense, is you actually are pretty sure you know this guy's sister. She is really, really attractive, and you're pretty sure you even remember the family name. It's an anagram of his last name. I will provide it shortly once I've worked it out, but I know roughly the story. I just haven't worked out details. And yes, so it's a fairly well-placed family, Shining Capital. It's a very typical old money family. The patron of the family has his toy. The matriarch of the family has her toy, and so between the two of them, they have more than a couple of bastards wandering around. And to the best of your knowledge, though, there was no denials. They were just extended family, and no one really asked too many questions about why, the whys and the details. But yeah, no, this fellow that was up on the stage, now you're thinking about it, is pretty much the spitting image of his sister, just, more masc than femme. And yeah, she was seriously cute, particularly in a bald gown, as Alexandria remembers her.
Closer to my age?
Yes. Yeah.
Good at talking? Charismatic? Her.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely deadly. Usually had a crowd. It had a crowd of completely bamboozled boys and girls following her around, basically hanging off her every word.
Interesting.
Natural charmer, if you will.
I mean, Alexandria won't say anything about that until they get
back. So we will skip through time and space, and you're all You can either be down at your customary table in the at the staggering clock, or holding a conference, as it will, in one of your rooms.
Once they get back to the surface, Spider's splits off from everyone else.
Mhm.
Has other things to do this evening.
All right.
Is it like without warning? Is just suddenly just not there?
No. In the way that we slightly retconned him saying, "I'm going to stay here." It instead at the surface says, "I have some other things that need doing." Once we reach the surface.
All right.
I want to ask what other things, but
You probably don't. I'm not going to hurt anyone.
okay. Have fun.
Meisel makes a when Spider fades into the darkness, Meisel sort of walks out a facsimile that just stays walking with the group.
That's funny as hell. I like that. Yeah. All right. So what is it Spider is off to do?
From what I recall of you describing like the way the underworld works in the city is there's basically an individual gang that runs each district.
A better way of putting it is that there's a gang who is top dog in the district. There is a gang who is challenging them, and then there's another gang who is either just big enough to be a problem to the first two, or is trying to get to be big enough to be that status.
Yeah.
So any given, but generally speaking, yeah, there's, if you will, there are at least 2, if not 3 or 4 principal gangs that run all of the business in a given district. The classic, the most best known example you lot have is, of course, your patronesses, Gale and Rain, are that pair.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Spider's gonna be doing some graffiti.
Okay. And what's you graffiti?
Well, the intention. So, what I remember from what Kazra and I found was like a very lightly coded thieves' cant message in each.
Yeah, if you will, there's tier 1 and tier 2 thieves' cant, with the tier 2 being the more difficult and more secure version. Tier 1 is the stuff you teach the runners and the messengers, so that they know enough to get through, get past, get into the places they need to be to deliver messages and stuff, but really can't figure out what's really going on.
Yeah. So Spider's intent is to spread throughout every single district over the course of the night, and in the heart of sort of wherever the most prominent gang activity in each district is, have quite a visible piece of graffiti in the harder thieves' cant, in like the real shit that says she is not amused.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
All right then.
I'm not gonna hurt anyone. I heard that silent directly.
What a lie. Wow.
All right. So yes, suffice to say that tomorrow morning there's going to be an awful lot of people reading the morning paper, as it were, wondering what the hell is going on. But yes, you will be able to, I mean, bluntly, there are it's quote after hours, right? The lights have all been turned down.
Yeah.
Anybody
I can
who
roll
sees
for the stealth roll if you like. I've got lots of dice for this purpose.
It's just it. I don't think there's only a handful of individuals in this town who might notice you, and bluntly, they're not out worrying about who's writing on walls at this time of night. Yeah. So, which is going to be
climbing up them.
Yeah, exactly. Which is sort of going to be the first hint to them come morning. Wait a second. This message appeared in my backyard. How the hell did that happen? I thought we had people looking out. Nobody saw anything, boss. And then, wait a second, it happened over there and there too, and they didn't see it. Oh dear. Right. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I like it.
I'm happy with that.
All right.
Sorry, you go.
I was just actually going to say, for the evening, for the overnight until the dawn breaks over the distant horizon, Spider is out with his Crayolas, and what are the rest of you three doing?
As they get back, Alexandria's just gonna say, his sister says nicer things.
Well, that's good to know, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go try and get some context. And just like heads up with Phantasm Spider so that he can sort of like release the phantasm without everyone going, what?
Where did other person sitting in chair number 4 just go to?
Night,
Yep.
guy.
But I want to try and there's a degree of like he just goes to his room for a bit and he's just like,
yeah. So you open the door and Shagaza is sitting at the end of your bed.
Oh, that's another way to do it, I guess. No, he says that out loud. He's just like, well, yeah, I guess that's the other way we could do this. Okay. Hi.
She pulls her cowl back. The left side of her face. She's got a black eye, which is visible because a good chunk of her fur is missing. She has a series of, basically, ear to jaw, claw marks. And the cleanup required removal of fur. She's got singed whiskers. And to say she looks unhappy is possibly understating the sentiment. And without really saying anything, she will just hold out a bundle. It's wrapped in cloth.
Okay.
Alexandria's not eating any hearts. No horse hearts. Not doing it.
Is it just me? Just to be clear, everyone else stayed downstairs, and this is just me and her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just before. Okay. Just so I'm on. Yeah.
It was going to get really awkward if all of you trooped into the room with her.
Well, let's say it's like I don't know if everyone else was just like, let's all go and find out. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I take and examine said bundle.
Mm-hmm. And so as you unwrap it, you're going to find a box inside. Very clearly, there is no accidentally opening it. And as you're unwrapping it, she says the contents of the box are for the blood bearer alone.
Okay. Are you okay?
Better than Edvin.
Do I want to know who that is?
A tribesmate. I couldn't do what I wanted to do without discussing it. I dislike being accused of being a heretic, and so had a discussion about manners with Edvin.
Without going into any detail, I guess that you don't feel I should have. Is this indicating towards box? Because I told you how in the dark the blood bearer is or has been kept.
Consider it a light.
All right.
But please understand that the simple existence of it is heresy, and the viewing and the should anyone else but the blood bearer view it, it would doom them.
That is good to know.
She will pull her cowl forward, sleep well, and she gets up and leaves.
As she goes to leave, I'm assuming you don't overly care, but it is potentially relevant.
She pauses, and you're basically about halfway to the window, but sort of hand on the bedpost, and turns and looks at you.
Something is brewing in the city. A coup of sorts, I guess. Mentioned there are people who would use the blood bearer as a scapegoat, I guess. I don't know if it connects to that, but I do wonder if the people doing that are further up the chain for the people who are here. It could get messy.
For them, she says.
Yeah, that's mostly what I'm afraid about. Thank you for the box.
You mistake me, Mysel, she says.
Do I?
You mistake myself, and you mistake my the service of my fellows. Those who are of no concern to us never know we live, never see our passing, never know of our existence, are of no threat to us whatsoever, and we are of no threat to them soever. Those who meddle in our affairs, those who do anything to impair the blood bearer, are making a decision to involve themselves in our affairs.
See, that is the impression I have, though. My concern, I guess, is for the people who don't realize they're getting involved, get caught in the crossfire, or are put into a position where they are meddling in said affairs by people who know what they're doing, but haven't told them.
How did we meet, Mysel?
I tried to find information from the universal consciousness about a task I needed to do, and it showed me you.
And then you found a warning note.
Yeah.
Our last act is violence. Our first act is a warning. If you are concerned about the innocent, then by all means, ensure the innocent are nowhere near us.
Yeah, I apologize if that was the impression I gave, that I was assuming that you would jump to. No, I'm quite aware of what you're saying. Sorry, I'm more general concern more than for the situation rather than specifically you, I guess, being the cause of the problem. I wasn't accusing you. I just think that the problem is going to get worse, and people who don't realize they've been manipulated are going to get hurt, not necessarily by you or your people, but just by the reality of the situation.
Mysel, your kindness is notable. I hope you live long.
Oh, I have. He puts the.
So it is a hand-carved box of some local plains hardwood, something between with the grain of a softer wood like a maple, like a bird's eye maple, but the hardness of something more like rowan. Beautiful grain to it. It's been hand waxed. You can see the tool marks have been, interestingly enough, where, for example, a human craftsman would have taken sandpaper to cover up a tool mark, they have embossed the tool mark and filigreed it.
Nice.
So every stroke that has created this item is written in bold as opposed to being smoothed away. So it's this beautiful kind of dark hardwood with all these elements of externality, if you will, silvers and golds and copper tones that have been written and wrought throughout the surface, and then all of that has been encased in some kind of a rich wax. Very pretty.
Yeah, he sort of appreciates all of that. Doesn't, at no point considers doesn't even muse about opening it. Just like, I'm totally okay with that not being something I do. But it does sort of, he just sort of like, all right, let's see if this works and get some context, and then we'll handle this. And he sort of just like sits down, and he's going to attempt to use precondition, in that now he's sort of realizing that it has recently realized that it's becoming a bit more advanced. And he is going to attempt to, what he's looking for is a degree of context for some of the things that this Linvola, whatever the name would be, we got the other name that we got from some of the things he said.
Yeah.
And it'll depend a little bit on the role. What he can get changes. Oh fuck, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
But you only need a 14, right? 24. You need a 24.
You need 24, and I got like a 14 and a 10, and then other numbers. So it was just like, 10 was about to explode. So it's like, we got there.
Yeah, you're good. Okay.
It's essentially because he's essentially like at higher level, he's not so much like he's sort of browsing over a topic rather than like asking a specific question.
Right.
So the main thing he wants to ascertain is like the context about the army going and the kobolds, and to a degree of like, just like, firstly, it's like, is this what they're talking about? Like there is an ambush, but if it's potentially able to look a bit deeper and be like, are the two sides being manipulated, or is the Gavinoy literally being like, go doing what they're saying, or is it like, is that a manipulation?
So the first thing you're going to see is the obvious scene of a farmhouse on a plains with fire roaring out of the eaves and people stumbling out of the back as shadowy, muscled, overbent figures are systematically emptying the chicken coop, dragging the cattle out of the barn and herding them off all into the night, even as there are cries and warlike shouts. There'll be another sort of this tumble of vision, which will be a patrol of soldiers sitting under a tree. One guy pulls his cup down, looks around, and thwunk right between the eyes with an arrow, and there's immediately a broken melee that erupts between, you presume, are kobolds or goblins or something like that, and this unit which is taking a break under a tree. Then you will see a siege engine. Do you know what a murder machine is?
Not specifically.
Okay, murder machine is something the French came up with for defending the inside of castles. It's essentially a bunch of boards you bend over at a 45-degree angle, and then you put trays of javelins. You get, if you do it right, you get a 6x6 array. That's 36 javelins, and then you cut the cord that's holding all the boards, and they go whap, and it spanker boards all 36 javelins out in a volley. You see 4 of those overlooking a very rustic village. You can see smoke, and you see a goat going meh along the foreground. And just as the sun is starting to come up over the horizon, chunk, 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 all of them unload this wall of javelins down. And you see goblins and kobolds, you think, dying by the score. Just whoop, they just effectively they machine gun the village.
Right. Do I get a sense that this is sort of like this has been like an ongoing?
This is you can watch this game of tit for tat go on for the past 50 years.
Right. And so this is just like the latest of that, but the kobolds have been given extra insight, essentially.
Yes. So what is, in fact, you will see a group of very skittish looking individuals, again, kind of burly, hunched over, kind of with the longish ears, the glittering eyes. The eyes glitter in literally are changing colors constantly between a yellow, a blue, and a red, and back through this cycle, rippling back and forth. And a couple of very tall, obvious human figures dressed in basically what amounts to ranger gear. These are, camouflage equipment, that sort of thing, passing over a scroll. They'll be here tomorrow. They'll be here just about in 3 days. They're bringing a lot with them. You'll need to be prepared. Thank you for warning us. You are good friends. And then the two groups part.
Right. And then just to sort of finish up, it was just like, who is the mistress? It's like, who is the mistress of Vales? But also, like, to an extent, who do they want us to think the mistress of Vales
So the
is?
first thing you're going to see is a poster for Tarantino's Tumblers up on a wall somewhere. This is obviously an old vision,
Cool.
talking about the mistress of Vales doing fortune telling.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see a couple of images of someone that might or might not be Alexandri in this absolutely gaudy outfit, with a layer of veils, and someone that may or may not be Spider alongside them, but looking more like a carnival barker. In various places, maybe that's definitely a city. That's definitely some kind of open roads area. Maybe that's the deck of a ship. And then you're going to see not those two people in the next series of images. The new Mistress of Vales obviously got a very good written description of the first Mistress of Vales, has got a pretty similar looking outfit, and it basically is surrounded by several people who look like they would play cards with Spider gladly. And
that's their funeral, but
yeah.
But there are and the ambiance is unmistakable. There's a hookah. This is money. These are people in a place of opulence and power. Her face is his. It's hard to tell. The outfit is curvy yet indistinct. It allows for presumption, but does not allow definition. It's very carefully crafted disguise. And so slightly tallish, very curvy. There is a voice which emerges from time to time, stately, powerful, commanding, and everyone in the room takes them very seriously when they speak. But you've seen Last Samurai?
Yes.
By chance? Do you remember the dynamic between the Oyabun and the Emperor? Well, let's ask the Emperor what he has to say. The Emperor just sits there and looks at them, and then the guy who's got all the power says, this chamber is not pure enough for a voice such as that as the Emperor. Do not trifle him with these matters. We will proceed as we say. And so there's a lot of this element of mystique and power that's being fabricated.
Am I able to tell, like, or see who is manipulating the figurehead, essentially?
You are going to see a map. It is the classic Hollywood world at war map, where you start to see these pinpoints of fire beginning to burn away from the map. And one of those dots begins squarely on your current location. And then the image, and then the conflagration immediately propagates to the Confederacy and then the Empire.
But not the...
But the deliverance of the dawn eventually is engulfed, but only because there's nothing left on the map to burn but them.
Yeah, the wake catches them. There's not like a center point.
Right.
Cool.
Is that what it is, Sam? Is it cool?
I mean, in that sort of cool.
Oh, it's horrific. Help.
Yeah, it sort of returns to the present moment and just sort of just sighs and picks up the box. Might obscure it, just sort of like combination of just specifically no one looks at the box, but also just like within coats. Yep. And then heads down to the other two.
All right. Are the other two still down, or are they gone to their respective rooms by this point? It was an either or question. Doesn't answer.
Well, I mean, I responded to the first part before you said the second part, and then it became an either or. Enough. But she's still downstairs.
Okay, fair. Sorry, there was just a little bit of audio lag, so it sounded to me like I finished the whole sentence and then you
Yeah.
It does that.
Sorry. Yeah, okay, that's funny. That was cute. All right, so Alexandria will speak. Kazra, what is Kazra up to?
Kazra is gonna hang around for as long as Alexandria's there.
Okay. So yes, then my soul will.
Then yeah.
So my soul will find Alexandria and Kazra apparently debating a new novel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
New novel
from the book club that we that we have all the time here, more than once a week. We get so excited about the books.
How many people do you think actually believe this?
At least the people in the immediate hearing vicinity.
Okay.
I just don't think anyone cares that much.
Then why do we have a book club?
Do you want to talk about these things uncandidly?
No.
Book club.
Okay.
It's not lying. It's.
I mean, it very specifically is.
No, it's just misleading.
That's
we don't have a book here. We're just not talking about it.
Might as well just sort of sits down and is like, maybe candid is better, and just sort of we're gonna.
All I'm saying, you didn't have a problem with the book club before. Now that there's a creepy mob happening, why do you suddenly have a problem with the book club?
There's no problem with the book. I mean, it's just that how long are people going to believe that we are keeping a book club?
We're in a tavern. It's not like it's going to be the same people every day. Some of them, yes, like that guy is here every day, but like some other, no.
Why is he here every day?
He likes to drink. Don't look at him.
Okay.
Also, when there are people specifically interested in you, maybe they'd send someone to pretend to be drunk, but to actually listen.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm not saying that with knowledge. I'm just saying it's one of the reasons why to be careful.
Everything you say sounds like you say it with knowledge. Just want to put that out there.
Oh, well, then this next section is going to be great.
I'm afraid.
You just went to your room and came back.
Well, it was a solid, 5 or so minutes.
Why
See, Kazra, it's not me.
It's all of you. Let's be honest.
I wanted to confirm, like I said, having a core of truth makes what they're trying to do easier. So I wanted to sort of confirm some things. The army is, the soldiers are heading towards the kobolds. That conflict has been going on 50 years or so, back and forth, on and off. The difference now being that in the next skirmish, the kobolds are very forewarned. And so it could go quite badly for the soldiers.
Okay.
Probably still go kind of badly for the kobolds, but that part seems correct. Mistress, they've been using the Mistress of Veils, well, the obvious assumption, but wanted to confirm, but the, I guess the persona you used previously when with, what was the name? Yeah, that one.
The tumblers.
Yes. They co-opted that. And they've used that appearance essentially as a figurehead.
How did they know?
There's posters of the Tarantino tumblers. There were descriptions, people who have met you.
But how do they know it? Oh. Well, I mean, if
They created they spent time creating the mystique and the legend of Mistress of Veils.
Oh. So I did.
And they want to start conflict here, back at the capital and in the Empire, that will ultimately spread across the world.
Oh, good.
So they think she's their leader?
I don't think the people in charge want them to think that she's the leader. There's a lot of the Mistress of Veils has told me and so forth.
And I definitely have not. So.
Oh, it was definitely not you. But like a casual observer probably wouldn't know that. And someone who's never met you certainly wouldn't.
That's troubling.
Yes. So.
There's more.
Oh no, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't need
That's
more.
everything
That's
that
enough. That's a lot.
That's what I got, but I had a guest when I arrived in my room.
Are you okay?
I'm
Did you
fine.
have fun?
She was a little worse for wear.
He's
Did you
10.
have fun?
He's 10.
Not, I mean, now he is. He's 12. Aren't you 12?
11.
How old
Yeah,
are you?
there was a very specific point in my life when I realized that kind of thing. Anyone who's going to be interested in doing that, I was not interested in doing that with.
That's
so
fair. That is very fair.
I just thought the question was
It's been like that for a while. So Shigalza was there. I had mentioned, I had made the point that for them, for her, for this group, you are the blood bearer. You are this destined person with this glorious purpose. And for them, it is nothing short of an honor to be chosen. And I tried to make it clear that for you, you weren't even aware of that, of even the remotest connection until like 2 years ago. And from there, you've been told next to nothing. And that within my first conversation with Shigalza, we got more information than we had ever received previously, which he was surprised by. And I think she went back to her people and suggested that they should do something to help illuminate things for you, to clarify things for you. I mentioned that you had been kept in the dark. She referred to, as she mentioned, bringing you a light.
Okay.
And apparently that suggestion was considered somewhat heretical.
Oh.
And she had to fight to So she didn't look great, and I'm told the other person looked a lot worse. And he pulls out the box and puts it down and sort of removes the any sort of oh fuck it. Takes the invisibility boon off it. Obfuscation. Yeah. Thank you very much. I brain and mouth went, we're not helping you here. What are you doing? Obfuscation from it.
I'm gonna need a clip of that.
Yep. Yeah. Midway through, I was like, it's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna make it.
A clip.
Yeah. And he sort of taps the box and goes, if anyone except you, Alexandre, sees what's inside that, they'll be marked for death.
How would anyone know?
I feel like testing that is not a great idea. I am more than happy to not ever know what is inside of that, or to not ever look at what is inside in that.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Just on the potential chance that I am not the blood bearer, right? If I look in that and I'm by myself, then will I just die?
Oh, I don't know. Not like, I mean, the impression I got was not the thing in the box will kill you if you are not the blood bearer.
But if I'm not the blood bearer, will I be marked for death? If I open this box and I'm not the blood bearer, will I be marked for death? That's all I need to know myself.
I feel like in this specific instance, it's less not the blood bearer and so much not you, because right now they see you as the blood bearer. If it turns out that this is a misunderstanding, that'd be crazy and a little funny in hindsight, but crazy. But I think that's another issue altogether. And to be fair, it also might be that ship has sailed. Given.
Well, at a certain point, you become the thing, right?
At a certain point, you're the one hearing the song.
Yeah. Even if you weren't before, you are now.
Like, all signs point to you.
Oh, goody.
You're the one they're going with.
As long as it's the right song,
Not the bad one, hopefully.
Something else she said, and it made me realize that perhaps I've been giving the wrong impression, or in my effort to highlight the concern that needs to be taken, I may have overemphasized certain aspects. She made it clear that killing people is not their go-to. It's not like someone takes steps out of line. It essentially made the point that for most people, they're just never going to know they even exist.
Because they're dead.
No, because they're not going to interact with you in a way that has a meaningful consequence. The people who do that do it willingly and knowingly. Those people know what they're doing, and they draw the attention of them. But even then, their first step is to warn them off. And it's when they refuse the warning, then they get the action becomes more drastic. It's not.
I just want to point out that we found the warning note in a group of 10 dead people.
Yeah. That's a really important point.
We also, that was but that's partway into an operation though.
True.
We don't know what happened before then.
We can't be sure how the people all died before we picked up the note.
No, I watched it happen.
Yeah, Maisel watched
it.
But I feel like they prefer to be hands off. If they have that option, that's what they'll do.
Okay. So why is this heretical? Exactly. Tell me.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Well, I feel like it might be part of the whole hands-off nature of it. They don't seem like they would normally. Best case scenario, they wouldn't interact with you at all.
Well, I mean, that's the
Like,
best case scenario for everyone involved, it
even
sounds like.
even I think their entire objective is essentially to pave the path for you. And if the path is clear, they don't do anything. And
So-
if it's not,
So
they take steps, but like
okay.
you don't get interacted
But
with.
the thing is, then why is it heretical if I don't know which path I'm supposed to be taking anyway to begin with? So then it's not heretical for them to show me the thing. So it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if I die at the hands of a cat,
Oh, I don't think they'd ever kill you.
That's the worst case scenario.
Like I said, they're making a path for you. I don't think at any point they'll force you to walk on it.
oh, I didn't. Hand me the box.
Their belief would be that if you don't, it's not like going against destiny is bad, but in that it's just inherently bad. There's not something they have to do anything for that. They won't force you to do this.
Whisper of the Wild.
Oh yeah, we are almost to quitting time, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's higher stakes than that.
Damn it.
You're welcome.
I was just drinking.
Did my mother reject La Chanson?
Good question.
Ooh. Did your mother reject La Chanson?
Or reject
No.
Okay.
No, or
Sorry, I meant I used a word wrong. Is what I was.
okay.
Okay.
Which
I
word?
actually
Okay, if that's yeah. Oh, just yeah. No, what word did you misplace? If
What I meant was, did my mother reject the call of La Chanson, as opposed to
no.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to penalize. Character error will get a poke in the nose.
Mhm.
Player error will not. That's just not cool.
Sweet.
So yeah, no. So that's yeah.
Okay. I guess I will go and look in a magic box and find out if I am marked for death or marked for death but by volcano or
Would
and-
everyone except Chantel please take your headphones off?
uh-oh.
Ooh, okay.
I will message in chat, Zoom chat when it is okay to put your headphones back on.
Okay.
All right. So are you going up to your room to open this? Yes.
Mhm. And I'm
Oh.
unsure as to, no, it's fine. That's it.
It's a so it's like I say, beautifully worked box. Its design aesthetic is not anything you have seen before. Like I say, the idea of embellishing the tool marks and stuff like that is completely different to anything you've seen done before. On the front, there are a pair of locks. On the back, set into the wax, are the two keys. It's very easy to take them out, put them in, turn them, and open the box. The locks are purely decorative. They're there to hold the lid down. That's it.
Yeah.
Inside is what looks like someone had taken a crystal ball and mounted a bracelet around it of filigree and other pretty stones and gems. It's lovely. The light seems to glint of it. Even if there's a little bit of light anywhere in the room, it seems to go out of its way just to go through that piece, through that crystal and glitter a little bit. It is lovely, and there's a very small fire that dances inside that crystal. It is the image. It's like you're looking at a campfire over there somewhere.
Is there anything else in the box?
Beautiful, soft leather, which has been basically worked and oiled to the point it is practically the smoothness and suppleness of butter. Lovely to look at. Some kind of sigilling and engraving all throughout it. Beautiful, but the only thing in that box that's takeable, as it were, is this small crystal ball set in this bracelet, if you will.
Does La Chanson have a response to it?
No. The music remains. There is no change.
Sit with it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If no, she would just say to it, "Why are you?"
Okay. There is no immediate response, but just because you're spending time with it, you realize that the flicker of the campfire that you see within it, you think it's a campfire, has a cyclical. It's like it's like an image on loop, and you think you perhaps see figures moving around the fire.
Hello? How much closer can I get to this crystal ball?
When you sort of gaze into it, it's like it unfolds. It's the best way of explaining what happens. The sensory feeling is that the image unfolds to fill the entire room. And suddenly you are sitting at that campfire. And there are a couple of Lucan moving around. Sitting beside you is an old woman. The whiskers are gray, the fur has gone silver, the eyes are slightly dimmed with cataracts, the hands are tight with arthritis. And she looks at you and smiles. She's kindly. She's got, mom aura +2, for lack of a better way to put it. You just kind of, okay, I'm safe. Cool. She actually even goes to pass you a cup of tea in a way that you actually find yourself reaching for it before you realize you're in an illusion. It's an illusion. I'll continue my story, she says. So it was that the makers knew that the time to rest after their great works had come. The great lake was the color of jade, and the sky had turned to onyx. Fire burned that no water would quench, and the winds churned and hurled the earth. The very elements were in disarray with the efforts of creation, and the whole world would need rest. But the world couldn't rest. It could not rest within its own need, its own righteous need to serve their makers. And so did the makers know that the time had come for they themselves to rest, such that all of their creation could rest in kind. The last of their creations were we, the Luncan, we, the Bloodpaw Guardians, the oldest of the greatest of the great works, shaped and made by the Creator's own wills and acts. They created us to be the protectors of their return. They told those of the first made that when the sleep of the mountain of fire beside the great lake was disturbed, she, the herald, would come to awaken us on our great duty. The passage of the herald will also be the test of our loyalty and our devotion to the makers. Should she not arrive after she was seen, we would be unfit to stand in this place. The passage of the herald would then be followed by the journey of the blood bearer. The old woman glows with pride. She is in awe that she gets to tell this story. This would be that for which we were created, to ensure her safety, that she might arrive at the mountain of fire, as the Makers foresaw and foretold to we, the first of the Bloodpaw Guardians. There, she could discharge her sacred duties such that the Makers would awaken from their rest and return their creation to its natural order. We may not enter the mountain with her. That is not our place, and we are not worthy to do so. We have our duty and our responsibility. It is vast and grand and plenty. We need not more. We are fulfilled. Unrest plagued the first great-grandchildren of the first. There were those who would not listen to the teachings of the first who came. They turned their eyes and noses away from the majesty of the creators. Some challenged the sanctity of the mountain and were unmade by the elements. Others brought discord and heresy to the Bloodpaw Guardians. Such was the sorrow and strife they brought, that for the first time since our creation did the claws and teeth of the Luncaun feel and taste the flesh of the Luncaun. That was the greatest sin and could not be forgiven. The creation needlessly unmaking the creation of the greatest work, the creators. So were these unclean then cast out and down, she gestures, off into a distance. They were marked, driven, hunted. They could never return to the plains of the great hunt and defile the mandate of the Makers. Or we, the Bloodpaw Guardians, in our devotion to our Makers, would unmake them. She sighs for a moment and has a sip of her tea. Many suns and moons have danced in the sky since then. The fallen have long ago ceased trying to return. The time of the white whiskers has come and gone. Time has even moved for the mountain. And so now it falls to us, the children of 104 mothers, to protect the path to the mountain of fire for the herald and the bloodbearer, to thus fulfill our duty and our responsibility to restore creation to its natural order. She sips her tea, she bows her head to you as though you are the most revered person she has ever met. And it all puts itself back in the box. It's literally, even the crystal is no longer in your hand. You go dump back into the box. You can pick it up again. And if you refocus on the fire, you will see that entire thing happen again. Okay. All right. Safe to come back then. All right.
Safe to come back for a given value of safe.
For a sufficiently broad definition, yep. Yep.
Scale of 1 to Chantel has to make a new character. How bad is it?
Quarter past eek, I think. But double check with Chantel for that.
Hello.
Hi.
So, what do we miss?
Well.
Got him.
What does Kazra and Mysel get up to when like Alexandre just leaves and we're just like, ha.
Kazra probably tries to engage Mysel in less serious discussion. Like, so what do you think's in the box?
What's in the box?
Your definition of less serious conversation.
I do not think this means what you think it means.
A lot of things don't mean what Cass thinks they mean. A lot of things don't mean what Cass thinks they mean.
Hopefully. I don't know. I was going to say hopefully it contains context. It contains answers, but
Probably not.
I don't know if that's the best case scenario.
The best case scenario would be like a one-way ticket out of here. I'm starting to wonder why. I mean, I know you guys said you had your reasons for showing up here and everything, but I'm starting to wonder why you picked here now, I guess.
Well, here, because, well, if I understand correctly, Cliff Spider was the gateway to the plains. They knew they were going to go further in, so this was as good a jumping off spot as any. Spider obviously wanted to set up a base of operations, as it were. Lucas was going to find the airship, I guess. Alexandre was following the song. This was the way it pointed, and Chevalier was following Alexandre.
Does it still feel like a good idea now that you're here?
Yeah. Just feels like it's going to be harder and more difficult and possibly a lot more painful than I was at least expecting. I mean, Pod. Sorry, I cut out. I didn't hear what you said.
I cut you off by accident because the sound cut out for a second.
Oh, I just heard you. Do you miss your? And then I didn't hear the.
Oh, I said, do you miss your friends, my son?
Yeah. I miss Hio. Well, I miss getting to talk to Hio. And a lot of my friends, my family, and all. Well, my family, particularly, are long since gone. Friends I've made along the way, but it's the reality of the situation. They're not going to survive as long as I will. So,
yeah.
I miss people who have passed, obviously. But I accept that that's people live, they die. My family still hurts, but yeah. How about you?
I don't have anything to miss. I've been here for as long as I can remember.
Were you born here, or?
No. But I was little when we got here. You know, the full 60 were not from.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I was very little, so I don't really remember anything other than here. I think I'd be pretty upset if things started to go the way it seemed like the people down there wanted them to go.
Problem I find. For most people down there, I don't think they want it to go that way. Not really. The people on the stage, yeah. But the people you know how Muscle sort of holds up his hands and just sort of like a playing card appears in one hand. and he just sort of like tosses it from hand to hand.
Okay.
And then at some point it's like a flower, and then it's like a bird, and then it just sort of changes. I can do what I can do because while people's brain, their sentience, it's one of the most powerful things out there. Like I literally cannot, you can't force it to do something. I can't just like take over someone's mind. That's what everyone's always afraid of ultimately, but I can't do it. It's not, the brain rejects that. It realizes what's happening. So you have to be crafty, because for all its capability, it's also kind of easy to trick once you know what you're doing. So I don't need to force you to see something. I just need people around me to sort of, the people's general perception is, well, it's general, it's not specific. You just fill in the gaps and they do the work for you. So if you convince someone that their problems are due to someone else, and you convince them, particularly if you're using magic to back up your words, like all they ultimately want is to have a slightly less difficult life. And they've been told that this is the only way they can get it. And possibly they're too far gone now. Maybe it won't be possible to undo that damage.
It's kind of what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
It's like,
but it's kind of equally dangerous to start viewing them as wanting this harm to happen. Because once you start thinking about it in that term, your response can be justified. But then you get to the point where maybe it's not about justifying it, it's too far gone and you have to take some direct action.
I just don't want to see this place end up like the place we came here from. I mean,
what was that like?
Like I said, I was really little. I don't know a whole lot, but I do know we didn't leave because we wanted to. They don't call us refugees for nothing.
No.
We were certainly taking refuge from something, and it's always chaos, and there's always a guy on stage.
Yep.
And there's always a group of people that are jumping willingly into a pot of cold water, not knowing that somebody's going to turn the fire on underneath them.
Yeah.
Slowly turn up the heat over a period of time. Cliff Spider isn't a particularly old city, as you know, but it's mine. And well, I'm learning a lot about it since I met you guys, but I'm also a lot more afraid of it than I was.
Cliff Spider's not an old city, but it's on old land.
That's for sure. Old land and old conflicts. Some things never change, I guess.
We talked a little bit to the others about this, but like I've seen this happen before, over and over again. I've traveled a lot. And wherever I went, you get to experience new places and new cultures, and there's always some differences that are incredible. Different ways of, and even on little ends, like how different people decorate their homes, how they make their food. But at the end of the day, everyone just wants to be happy and safe. They want the people they love to be happy and safe. But there are also going to be people who have enough power to start treating those other people just like numbers on a piece of paper. And as long as the numbers come out in their favor, they don't care. And I put a lot of effort, Hio and I, to work against those kinds of people. But there's always more. There's always more. Someone else somewhere. Another petty tyrant. Another mad wizard. And it's really easy now to look back and feel like it wasn't worth the effort, because nothing in a broad sense has changed. There are people, individuals, and their lives were better because I was there.
Do the good guys ever win, Mysa?
For a time. The trick is trying to find a way to stop the cycle repeating. I was never very good at that. Partly because, I guess when I was younger, it wasn't my goal. My goal was to see the world and just happen to help people because we were there and we could, and it felt like the right thing to do. And he was bad at turning away from people who were distressed. So was I guess. Long-term change requires the kind of work we didn't do. Maybe we should have. I always felt that if I tried to run my own city or something, that long-term the effects would be worse than if I didn't. No one wants a ruler that can read their thoughts and turn into a dragon. Makes foreign policy hard.
I think lots of people would like that, actually. But
to an extent. But with long-term change, it requires things to be done differently and people to think differently, and that is slow. And I don't know, maybe Alexandria.
Just one sec. Yeah. Is Alexandria going to be coming down to join the scene?
I was about to say that.
Okay.
It just looked like the endpoint is like, but maybe Alexandria is different.
Alexandria arrives.
That's bad timing.
I mean, not narratively.
I guess all we can really do is look at the time that's in front of us and try to do things different then, I guess. Whatever different looks like. You know better than I do.
I don't know if that's true.
Oh, I
don't know if... I think that if you think that is true, you're underselling yourself, not overselling me.
Words with you guys. Always.
Lots of words.
You okay over there? Huh.
That's not convincing, but okay.
Conspicuously like a no. Yeah.
I understand more now, but I also understand less now.
I'm just saying the same thing.
It's not great. I hate it. I feel like it's the most information I've ever had in my life, and I don't know what to do with it.
I feel like we have a version of this conversation every evening.
Yes, we do. I have to go to a volcano. I
know. We've established that part.
Oh no, I'm telling both of you I have to go to a volcano. It's not a... That's not That's not a choice. That's
you can't.
That's what I'm just doing now.
Now, as in right now?
Oh, not right now. No, right now uh, well, I'm not sleeping, but
Want a drink?
No, no, I don't.
Now I know something's wrong.
I don't want a drink.
Is there an extent that you can talk about it?
I have no idea.
Fun.
No one told me. She was very nice,
If you're
though.
if you're gonna go to the volcano, it can't possibly matter what happens before you go to the volcano as long as you still go, right? I feel like you're allowed to talk about it.
I hope so. Because I have to do it, and I can't do anything without talking to someone about it, so.
Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If the thing that you're scared of is the thing that you have to do, and also the thing that everybody wants you to do, then I don't think anything other than you is going to stand in your way, no matter what you say or who you tell.
Well, I mean, there's the other song. And there's Jennifer.
What?
And there's,
I meant no one here, like in this building.
well, I mean, there's that guy.
Just don't look at him. He doesn't care.
We hope.
Is there a sense that we have to sort of up the timetable?
I don't think so. I just, wouldn't advise my death.
Noted.
Wasn't
a
something
lot
I
of-
was planning, but
I don't, am I a very loud person?
Generally.
Generally loud?
Not all the time.
Fine
You're all-
loud.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Hello, I'm loud.
No.
I don't know what I'm supposed to. Okay.
But
I
I feel like you could be if you wanted to be.
when I'm very angry, yes.
Sure. But
Or drunk.
Or drunk. Was I loud when I was drunk?
You weren't. Well,
you
I
were
think
quiet.
the four of you were generally louder than most people. Just
Oh.
aura-wise, energy-wise, this isn't helpful. Please go on.
Well, one of the things I have, maybe the only thing I have to do is go and wake up the makers.
I see.
And is that a literal wake up call, or is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
That.
I mean, it's concerning, but it's consistent with this scale we're on. So,
I just don't know if they're. What Alexandre knows about beginning of the universe. A brief summary. The gods created this planet in order to fight. Correct?
So okay,
Planet
so the
or
short.
plane?
I'm just gonna say the yeah. So please understand that this is one of these places where translations are inexact. It is either planet or plane, and since no one's been into orbit to find out if there's an orbit to be in, I think both phrases are interchangeable currently. The flat Earth, but if you will, the world is understood to have been created a long time ago by the demons and the prime divinities to have it out.
Yeah.
It's a rugby field.
Yeah.
The details about exactly who won or even who got the coin flip, unclear. But we can't help but notice that, well, the place is still here. This means one of two things. The match isn't over, or they've all gone home.
Or they killed each other. Good times.
Yes. Except that I'm just going to say, except for Nice Cavs McGee and the Prime Divinities.
Yes. Shit. Good. Fun. I don't know what... I mean... Okay, so... Oh... This is one of those things I really shouldn't be saying out loud.
I mean, feel free to nod if you shouldn't.
But I need to tell someone.
Yeah,
I can't
fair.
keep this to myself.
Feel free to do if you should, then.
What she said.
The world is not finished.
The world is what?
Not finished.
And by that you mean?
They didn't finish. They fell asleep. They took a nap. They said, hey, it's not done yet.
What part of it isn't done?
The whole of it.
No. Which part?
The all.
There's stuff everywhere.
No, it's just not done.
What?
And now they're sleeping, and I'm gonna go wake them up and I mean I need to I'm going to have to go back in and study that because that's a lot of information really fast. But you know, that's the gist of it. Someone has to wake them up, and apparently a volcano's not loud enough.
So it's got to be a volcano.
That
and
one.
You're...
Or at least something like that. I don't know.
Meisel, I think at this point, just in case that it hadn't already crossed the player's mind, I think there's going to be this brief moment where the only words you can clearly hear in all of this room of people talking is, "This isn't going to end well."
I don't... sounds like a trap.
Oh, you know, everything in my life kind of sounds like a trap. It's really just about which one you're going to fall into at any given point now.
Yep, that's the impression I'm getting.
So if you just assume that everything is a trap and then you just do it anyway. Because what else are you going to do?
No, never mind.
There is not a trap. No, you tried this last time. There is not a trap. Because everything is a trap. You are a trap.
I'm not a trap.
Have you been to the Underworld?
No.
Everything is a meat trap.
I don't like that. Please don't say that.
I didn't say it was nice. I'm just giving you information.
I'm not a trap. I'm not even from here.
Well, maybe that's why you're a trap.
Wasn't even supposed to come in today.
I'm 3 days away from retirement.
Damn it.
There is a lot that I need to do, and I've got to go and wake up. Hello, time to wake up. You slept
Maybe
for a
the
very
part of-
long time, and the world has gone to shit.
Maybe the part of the world that isn't a trap is the part they didn't finish.
What?
Casper looks very pleased with herself for a second.
Don't make sense.
Bold of you to presume that anything that any of you have said to me since I've met you made sense.
Oh, so now you're just joining us?
When in Rome,
Where's Rome?
it's probably a trap.
See? Everything's a trap.
If everything's a trap, then either everything matters or nothing does. That's all I'm gonna say. Asked
No.
far too many.
What if that's why the cycle?
Yes. That is why the cycle.
That is why the cycle.
Yes.
The world is broken, so it can't move forward. It just goes in circles.
It's not finished.
Part of it is missing. That's exactly what I just said. The part of the world that's not a trap is the part they haven't finished.
But it's kind of like they have a plate of food and they said, oh, I'll have a little bit of this grain and I'll have a little of this protein and then I'll have a little of this, or I'll have a sip of water. They just didn't finish anything. It's all not finished.
Yeah.
There's no bit to go to that's not that's yay, it's done.
I'm sure it will look like that to them, though. All I'm saying is that's why the cycle, so we can fix it all. It'll be fine.
So maybe it's the volcano. Maybe the volcano is the bit that's finished. That's why
I
it
mean,
talks
there's
to
a
them.
real chance that the finished outcome
Talks to
looks
them?
nothing like what we have at the moment. Like, it's not like they're building an extension on a house. Like,
Boy.
it's not like they built the foundation of a house and they built the walls, but they forgot to put the ceiling on. They need to finish it. It could also be that they started making a cake, and right now what we have is wet batter, and it needs to be turned into a cake. And the batter looks entirely different from the finished cake.
I don't want to be baked.
I don't like this metaphor anymore.
No.
Wasn't saying it was a happy metaphor.
That's cool,
I just
mate.
I'm saying it's not finished. You can stop a project partway through and it would look entirely different from the finished product.
I would like to request a different metaphor.
No, I don't want a different metaphor. I want to stop
Well,
talking about it.
maybe it's the house thing and they just need to put a roof on and it's fine.
I want it to be the roof is actually what I want.
Maybe
Yeah.
they just didn't paint the walls.
Maybe.
No, I'm afraid of paint. Thanks, guys.
Also, now you're afraid of the normal things. Isn't that great?
Enough of us.
Welcome to the group.
Glad to be here.
How are you? Or is that a
Here's
lie?
here's your gift basket. It's full of existential dread.
I think. Where is Spider?
I don't know. He hasn't come back yet.
Causing mischief.
I
Undoubtedly.
mean, probably.
I hope
I
the
was out
children
painting
are
the town
okay.
or something.
Just literally out painting the town red.
Oh no.
Mm.
I feel like whatever Spider's doing, it's going to get me in trouble.
Can't make anything worse.
Oh no, you have no idea. Have you met Spider?
Alrighty, folks. It's 12:30 my time, so I think I'm going to just say that's that moment of you have no idea. That's the end moment.
I also thought, just for a second, you were gonna say, "Yeah, so it's 12:30 my time. I'll leave. Goodbye." I'll just leave you to discuss this
You're
alone.
We're
No.
done. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
My life is the opposite right now. That's fun.
I hope you all had fun tonight.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, it's so good to be back at the gaming table with y'all. You are such a delight.
Rampant
that's it
story
for-
progression.
You're welcome.
We were just talking about slow burn yesterday.
We were.
Someone turned up the heat.
So I have, as before, posted a link to what it was Alexandria was told on the I'm just gonna say on the World Anvil site, as well as PDF for the players in the Discord channel. So if you don't want spoilers, don't read it. If you want to have a glimpse at the doom that lurks, go ahead. I trust you all. But yeah, there we go. Thanks very much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Say
Have a
good night,
We'll
everyone.
catch you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
We'll see you in a week.